Hello everyone, it's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajilu Ugbo and with me are the ladies. Hello Nima Akashat Zubiri.
Hello BC, good morning.
Good morning, excellent morning ladies.
I want to say thank you to my friend Sani Fatima Olayinka. She's based in the UK and says that I like snacking. And so she sent the ladies of Your View and myself. So next time Fatima, just face your front. 5 packs of Dodo Kiri. And
I got mine this morning.
We've been delivered.
Thank you so much.
So for me, it's
eating my snacks with me.
It's okay. Thank you. For me, it's my very first time of hearing about it. So I've tasted one. It's nice.
It, right?
Yes.
Trying to acquire the.
Yes, it's an acquired taste, as they say.
I'll eat it with the kids when I get home. Really nice. So that's the gist you have for us, Abi?
Except people want to hear the reality of my
traffic. Do we want to hear the reality?
So it's not good to go back or back. I'm looking too good. I'm looking to see the good, the venture.
And you look good too.
Yeah,
proper.
You're looking amazing.
Yeah.
Guys at home.
Can you imagine?
Please, though, we're innocent here. Tell me how you doing.
I'm very good. So, my natural hair is out to play.
Love it.
Congratulations.
Love it.
It wasn't the plan, but it's working. Yesterday, I went to visit about a few construction sites, and you know, there's a lot of people that are working extremely hard. Really, really hard work. Laborers inside that hot sun, and it's just, you know, we're not treating people at that level of life with dignity that they deserve for the hard work they are putting in, you know. So the contractor that is at the site actually puts a deep freezer, and I was really like a cold drink. So they get cold water, pure water, but at least in that hot sun you have cold water. It's just people should be kinder towards their staffs that are at that level, because nobody wants to be there, and those that are there that are doing it, you cannot survive without them.
Yeah, you need
them. So think about the fact that you need those laborers, you need the tiler, you need the bricklayers. Treat them with kindness as they are doing their job. They are earning a very honest living, and respect them for the effort they are contributing towards your bigger goals that you are trying to achieve. You know?
Amazing. How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing amazing. It was quite a long weekend that I enjoyed, but especially for me was the highlight for me was when I went to the Green Fingers Wild Conservation, the Wildlife Sanctuary. So I was invited to be a speaker at the event. It was what they call their Green Life Day. So this particular initiative, they have a mini zoo, and they try and preserve and educate people about animal conservation and preservation. It's such a beautiful thing that Chinedu is doing in that place. So he's the owner of the place, he runs the place, and is affiliated to a school. So when you go to the zoo, the guides, the tour guides, and the ones that will tell you about the animals are these young, bright students.
Wow.
So I'm looking at, okay, what I'm trying to do where I go from school to school and talk to kids, he has gone way above. He's been doing this 10 years.
Wow.
And it just makes me so proud. It made me so proud to see our Nigerian children talking about the animal, you know, what it eats, its habitat and things like that. I'm so proud of what he's doing. And I mean, there's hope. There's hope, Refinery School. There's hope. There's hope for yes, it's in Lagos. There's just hope for our future.
That's amazing.
Yes,
because it doesn't look like a regular.
When individuals just take the initiative to do what is right for our country. Well done. Yes.
To understand what we're talking about. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So we are starting with the nation. New Naira notes go into circulation today. Interest rate now 16.5%. APC to launch crowd pulling app to raise funds. Party rejigs campaign plans. Documents on 2.2 billion SW left missing. Ministry tells Senate. No excuses for loss to Saudi Arabia, says Messi. Why Jonathan can't back Atiku by Wike. PDP candidate humiliated ex-president in 2015. Oil. Buhari warns against Niger Delta mistakes in the north. NYSC names Uba as acting DG. Petrol scarcity bites harder in Lagos. What stories do we have?
Okay, so NYSC quickly.
Okay.
It's a very short one. So the NYSC DG has changed. So a woman is Mrs. Christy Uba, and she's to resume as the acting Director General of the NYSC since Brigadier General Mohammed Fada has left his service. And the announcement of her appointment came yesterday. She's to take immediate effect.
Oh, that's amazing.
Congratulations.
What other stories do we have?
In Oyo State, the governor has approved the elevation of, that's the promotion of 1,629 workers that had been denied promotion due to what they term system errors between 2017 and 2020. And this was confirmed. And I'm just saying that it's a good thing that, they're able to go back and sort of bring back and promote those who have been denied this promotion. But I hope this is not something that we find across Nigeria, and it's not something that is common. Because to say to someone that you have not been promoted because of some system errors, I think it's unfair. I hope that there's sort of compensation that's also done to make up for all those years that the system errors caused their lack of promotion.
That's painful.
So, political story about the presidential candidate for PDP, and of course Wike has been very, very vocal. So Wike is saying that, was explaining why former President Jonathan is not going to back Atiku, and he said that the PDP candidate was humiliated ex-president. He spoke about the fact that Nigerians like to forget history. Like things happen and you choose to forget. That he remembered clearly how the sitting president then, Goodluck Jonathan, went to London after getting the ticket for the election to beg Atiku to come back to the party and support his bid. And the condition that Atiku gave him then was for him to relinquish his bid to continue as a president, and that this was a disrespect to someone who was currently a sitting president, asking just to support the party. That they are not even doing that. They're not disrespecting Atiku. They are saying, you've gotten your ticket, don't relinquish your ticket, but be fair and allow the chairmanship come towards the south, and that's the only condition for them getting to support Atiku towards his presidential bid. I just feel like it is too close to election for Atiku not to have his house in order, because I'm worried about, a lot of people are worried about how you can be vying for president of a country when you cannot even hold your party as one.
So the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has said that the newly redesigned Naira notes of 200, 500 and 1,000 will come into use today. He said this yesterday at the end of the last Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, meeting in Abuja. And he was saying that the president will unveil the new Naira notes at 10 a.m. today in the council chambers during the FEC meeting. However, he didn't tell us why they had moved the date. So they promised they were going to release it December 15th, but now they're moving it to today, which is, I think, 23rd, I guess. And however, he's also saying that the old notes will not be phased out till the 31st, so they are not moving the dates on that. That's good news. So he went ahead to also explain that they had increased the percentage for businesses who lend money from the banks to 16.5%, which some experts are arguing and saying this is really unfair. It will affect the end consumers at the end of the day, because all the prices will go up and then you have to mark up your prices. But he's saying that they are trying to curb inflation with what they are doing, and so far they have seen results doing this. I just pray he looks at it holistically. As
someone who is a business person that has a loan with the bank, the point is there are policies that you do for previous loans. It shouldn't affect. You shouldn't make the new interest rate affect the previous loans. But what they do is, once the new interest comes out, they adjust everything, so you don't know what you are going to be paying anymore. Your timeline for repayment and what you're paying monthly has changed, and that's wrong for
unfair.
current businesses.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
All right, let's move on to the Punch. Atiku, Obi meets Khan, tackle APC on governance. Is late to resume voter registration, court rules. Fuel queues resurface in Lagos, marketers blame depots. New Naira notes for circulation before December 15th. Private sector predicts factories shut down, higher bad loans. CBN interest rate hike will increase manufacturers' 5 trillion debts. Monetary policy tightening will worsen inflation, says Nasima. Punch demands 25.1 million judgment debts from CBN. Impeached Ekiti speaker heads for court. Abuja, Bauchi crashes kill 44. FRSC plans mass burial. Buhari inaugurates $3 billion oil exploration project in Northeast. Who has what story?
Yeah, I have the INEC story.
Okay.
So 4 parties, Najat Salmat, Ernest Stanley, Chief Charles Okafor, and Mr. Samuel Oluwakemi had sued INEC to court for stopping the voters registration, continuous voters registration, just 208 days before the elections in 2023. And so they were asking the court to declare that INEC was expected to continue voters registration, update it, and do a revision of voters register till 90 days before general elections, according to various sections of the Electoral Act. I don't want to bore you with quoting all of them. And they also asked the court to declare that it is the constitutional responsibility of INEC to make sure that every prospective Nigerian voter who has shown the desire to register to vote are not deprived of their civil rights to register and participate in the forthcoming general elections. And another of the court directing the INEC again to resume immediately the registration of new voters. The court granted everything except the last one, saying that that has been affected by time. Considering the time that the judgment was given, it's just a few days to the 90 days before the 90 days before the
So why didn't they give that judgment early?
So I think they should approach the court early next time, before the next elections, get a preemptive order so that INEC does not do the kind of thing they just did.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those.
Welcome back. So we still are
Yes.
taking the punch. Go
So
ahead.
the president on Tuesday flagged off the commercial production of crude oil and gas from the 3 billion Komani Integrated Development Project. This is located in between Gombe and Bauchi states. It says lies in the Gongola Basin of the Upper Benue Trough. So this just means that now we're drilling oil up north between Gombe and Bauchi states. And the information coming from there is that this field would produce about 50,000 barrels of crude oil per day, and and it holds over 1 billion barrels of crude oil reserves, and that's thereby shooting our own the whole Nigeria's oil reserves to over 38 billion barrels. So economically, our president says this is very good for us, and that even NNPC says there are also other drillable fields around these areas that they will be exploring. The president also said that this particular project attracted 3 billion naira investment, even at a time when, globally people are looking away from fossil fuels. But it's also saying that we should use the opportunity to learn from the mistakes we've had so far, in the Niger Delta area, so that we can do better when it comes now that we're doing here for the north. For me, I'm just really interested in knowing exactly the mistakes that we have acknowledged, that we have made, and the ones, that I would like the government to say, we have acknowledged these are what we have made mistakes in, and these are the steps that we will take to rectify that for them, and also make sure that with these new areas, we don't repeat those mistakes.
Like what you just said, because if you don't spell it out, it's vague.
Yes, vague.
You don't want to repeat, but then you don't have it itemized. Exactly, what does that even mean?
Let me take the story of oil marketers. Everybody in Lagos already knows that we are experiencing renewed fuel scarcity, but the truth is, they had said it earlier, the reasons for this, now they've added more. One of the reasons they said before was scarcity of access to foreign exchange, which is used to pay for the shipment of crude or of petrol from the mothership to the daughter ship, and they're still suffering that. But in addition to that is the fact that the cost of moving petrol from depot from tank farm to distributors has increased by, is now about 200 naira per litre. Wow. That is transport cost. Somebody in Abuja said that, from the DAPMAN, said the cost of moving, before what used to take 3 days to move from Lagos to Abuja now takes over 1 week to move petrol. The roads are so bad that it takes over a week from Lagos to get to Abuja. In addition to that is the fact that the roads are so bad that the vehicles break down and the cost of repair is also on them. Then there's going to be implementation of 0.5% tax on gross turnover according to the Finance Act 2020, which is going to be implemented. So they are saying that with the cost of everything we're doing going up, you can't tax us on gross of our turnover. And she also mentioned that the profit margin that fuel is being sold was 40 naira where they were selling at 160, and right now, even when the fuel price is about 200, it's still the same thing. I bought fuel for 210 naira in Lagos, and people are buying. That's like the cost.
There's no fuel.
There's no fuel. So where you are seeing fuel is going higher, especially around Ikosi, GRA, Bega. They Punch listed the filling stations where they saw fuel be sold at 200 and over 200 naira in Lagos.
Yeah, a quick story before we move on. 44 persons on Tuesday lost their lives in separate accidents. It happened along Damaturu-Maiduguri Federal Highway in Bauchi State and Kwali-Abuja Expressway, the Federal Capital Territory. What happened was that they were both overspeeding and collided into each other. And the first accident that happened in that Damaturu-Maiduguri, the accident happened, the vehicles collided into each other, caught fire, and the passengers were burnt beyond recognition. The same accident happened again, the one that happened at the expressway, Kwali-Abuja Expressway. 17 persons died on the spot as well. So they had to get a permit by the FRC had to get a permit from the commissioner so that they could do mass burial. And what they said is a lot of overspeeding is happening, especially this Yuletide period.
That's where the roads
people
are good.
Traveling, people need to be very, very careful. So let's move on quickly to the Sun, Daily Sun. G5 governors storm Abia tomorrow for Ikpeazu. PDP told to discipline unruly governors. Court refuses to order INEC to resume continuous voter registration. We've taken that. 2023 polls. Atiku Obi present plans to can. Media adopts co-regulation framework, code of ethics. Sanwo-Olu pledges continued support for the homeless, less privileged. NNPC begins first oil exploration in North amid Buhari's caution. Learn from Niger Delta experiences, President advises. 20 million out of school children ticking bomb, Obasanjo warns. All thefts, Senate reports fails to indict perpetrators. Buhari unveils redesigned Naira notes today. What stories do we have in the Sun?
Sanwo-Olu, the governor met with governor of Lagos State West with the beneficiaries of the Eco Inspire Me project. This project is the one founded by Aralola Lumiwa. She talked about it on the show here. Ara talked about how she met some hoodlums 10 years ago, and that inspired this project, where she plans to change 2,000 area boys and girls, change their life by, the Eco Inspire Me project. The governor also pledged continuous support to help her in changing the situation of the less privileged and these people in this group, homeless, of course, in this group.
Okay. So the Nigerian media industry has adopted the new co-regulation and code of ethics to address ethical and professional concerns in the industry. They had a stakeholders roundtable meeting, and at that meeting we had Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, INPAN, Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, and the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers. So at the end of the round meeting on the 14th of November, they issued a communique. A lot of things. First of all, they all agreed that it was a successful turnout, and the few of the things I liked that I picked out and I thought that it's important to read out. So some of the things that they got, they said, 1, sanctions for violation of the codes of these new codes that they have. These revised codes will be determined by the Ombudsman, and then they're inserting in the Bill of Rights, and this is to see to the welfare and safety of journalists. And also they said investigative journalism by making public interest exception in instances where undercover with methods may be used to obtain information. So to protect journalists, they have to, use undercover, and protect their rights in some way. Then also, for me, I think it's really important, distinguish between paid content and editorial content to preserve the integrity of editorial integrity. It is very important now, because anybody comes up, drops information just because of your face or your influence,
take it and run.
Take it as news. Yeah. So it's important we know the difference when you're paid and then when you're giving real stories.
Let me quickly take the story of the G5 governor. The G5 Integrity Group, that's the 5 governors from PDP, Rivers State, Benue State, Enugu State, Seyi Makinde, and Governor of Abia
Why did you
State.
giggle when they said Integrity Group? Why?
I don't know. But the story is that the 5 governors are going to be supporting one of their own in person in the launching of the governor of Abia State, Dr. Ikpeazu's campaign to become a senator. They are going en masse to support him, and all the PDP candidates, they are unveiling the new, the governorship candidates for Abia State. That's Professor Uche Okene and Okeigwe as their and other candidates there. I'm still going to ask this question. It's not part of the story. Please, when a governor moves to Senate, they've spoused all the entitlement he gets as a former governor, right? Because we need to confirm that. Is it federal or is it state by state? Because you cannot be a governor, become a senator, and still be collecting the same. So I just feel like everybody should ask that question, because a lot of our governors are in the Senate. Should they be collecting salary from Senate and collect salary from? It shouldn't be left to their goodwill to relinquish it. It should be legal.
My sister, let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune. I don't have an answer to that question. I'm telling you. So, assembly crisis, allow democratic process, Ekiti elders tell APC leaders. Buhari unveils new Naira notes today. I've taken that story. Nigeria earned $741 billion from oil gas in 22 years, NATI, to release 2021 industry audit. Khan meets Obi and Atiku. Buhari in Bauchi, Gombe border town flags off oil exploration. 2 policemen, 59 others die in Borno, Plateau, Abuja, Kogi auto crashes. Media adopts new co-regulation code of ethics. Do we have any stories in the Tribune? Okay, there's no time. If we don't have, let's move on to the Vanguard. Do we have any stories in the Vanguard?
I didn't see the Vanguard.
Okay, not at all. Not at all. All right. Okay, that's all we can take.
Let me quickly just correct the headline. I said that the NYSC former DG was sacked.
Okay.
Our producer insists he was removed from sacked from office. I said he was removed.
Okay, and they said he was sacked
from office.
Okay.
6 months into his appointment.
All right. Thank you, ladies. That's all we can take in the newspaper reviews. When we come back, we move on to our hot topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother,
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us. So last week, a story broke about a pregnant woman who was caught by her husband in their matrimonial bed having carnal knowledge with a so-called pastor. Yesterday, news broke again that the pregnant woman has allegedly killed herself. Now, the argument is who is to blame? The husband who recorded and posted the video online, or the woman who committed the act? We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. You can join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. So this was a viral video that went round. Social media, a lot of people were talking about it. And first of all, I was wondering the sort of scenario that played out. Because, you know, when we saw that video, we saw there were charms, would I call them charms or candles on the floor, lit up, looked like jazzy, like a jazzy arrangement. It really didn't look like a bedroom. So I was asking myself, was this done in a right frame of mind? But before we dig further into it, let's find out your initial thoughts. Who's ready to go? Okay, so maybe my initial thoughts will be, because I try and make sure I don't watch people's private whatever, I didn't really watch it. So when I heard that there's this video going around, I made sure I didn't look. I don't like to look into people's, for me, it's their private situation. It's not something that should be posted for the world to see. But I got the whole story about it, which is her husband caught her in bed with the pastor. I wasn't aware of the ritualistic paraphernalia that you're talking about, but I do know that in bedrooms sometimes for romantic people put those sort of candles. Could it be candles and flowers? I don't know. But the thing is, a man caught his wife in bed with another man, pastor, whatever they call it, and he was heartbroken, angry, felt betrayed. You know, so many sorts of emotions will be at play at that moment. And then he was holding a phone. Unfortunately, he put that information out. And I believe it was
at that point, you know, when the emotions are high. He couldn't have done it knowing, you know, after taking like a rational step back. It must have been done immediately. He took that and put it out there. I'm going to shame you for what you have done to me. I'm going to make sure you feel the same sort of, you know, pain. Some people have been known to find themselves in situations like that, and they're holding a gun. Some people are holding a club, and then they use it, you know. So the sad thing is that he put that out, and even if he had a change of heart moments later, it's gone. And that's one thing. Once it's gone, someone posts it and reposts it, it becomes viral. So for me, it's a sad situation for all the people involved. It's a sad situation that to the point that she had to take her life. It's a sad situation for the man to find that his wife was betraying him. Now the other man in the picture, is he a pastor that's known to both of them? Is he someone that the husband also respects, you know? And so he feels betrayed on all sides. I just feel that shouldn't have gone on social media at all. But when a man or a person finds themselves right there, we hope that there's someone beside you that can say, calm down, that can hold your hand and say, come and let's take a breather. As bad as this thing may seem right now, it's not the end of the world, and we'll get through this. Sadly, it has led to her suicide. And I feel that there's so many lessons we can learn from that. One of the lessons would be that in situations where it seems like we can't control ourselves, if we try hard, if we can try hard, we should try and control ourselves. We should not use the phone or the camera or the video to capture this and put on social media.
React immediately.
Yes, let's not react immediately.
Okay, Tope, what do you think?
You know, it's just so sad that we lost 2 people because a baby is dead as well as the mother in this situation. I've said it several times here that it's not everything that should be on social media, and it is big from me because I put a lot of things on social media, especially when you are emotional. You shouldn't post online because the things you say, the things you would do are not really out of rational thoughts. You tend to do things that we regret, and social media has become like what they say, a Yoruba proverb that says, when the egg falls down, you can't pick it back up. Like once an egg, a raw egg, falls from your hand, it's gone.
Yeah.
That's the way social media is. Everything you post like this,
retrieve.
It goes completely. It is extremely important that we exercise, not just exercise restraint. Don't carry out any action when you are heartbroken, when you are hurt, in that moment. Take a break. That's why people kill their spouse. That's why people do all sorts of things. So indirectly, this man's heartbroken post has led to so much shame that has brought the woman to kill herself. Now, the woman shouldn't have killed herself, really, at the end of the day. And I think that sometimes we feel like, sometimes we yab whichever way. If she did not show remorse, we will yab her. If she's shown remorse to the point where she's committing suicide, we will yab her.
Do you think
Tiwa Savage
that made her commit suicide?
Shame. Tiwa Savage had a sex scandal. Tiwa Savage had a sex scandal that came out, and she did a video recently and say, oh, because of 5 minutes enjoyment, you think it will destroy my life? Whoever who hasn't been in that situation, put your hands in the air. And some people were yabbing her that, can you see how shameless she is? You are not even embarrassed by the fact that, what do you want her to do? She should have died. Should she commit suicide? So there's so much pressure on people online. There's this Chigel. Chigel posted a beautiful picture of herself, and people were trolling her, insulting her over and over again. That look at how big she is, and she's posting that outfit. They're lying to her. What do you want people to do? Social media trolls are leading to more people committing suicide, and we need to address them. You shouldn't carry your negativity away from social media space. Carry your emotions away from social media space. Let us make this place a place where we just share happy, fun things. If you're going to challenge, we support and encourage each other. Don't be that. Don't be the one that will push somebody over the cliff. Many people are barely holding on. People are struggling emotionally. They are barely holding on, and then you just be the one to push them over and cause them to commit suicide or even do something worse. So please, like we have a responsibility. Our phones are a huge tool, and we should use it responsibly.
Okay, let me come to Nima. Do you think that the woman reacted the way she reacted because the video blew out of proportion? Do you think that if the man had handled it within the family, that she may have saved herself?
I think she acted proportionate to whatever it is she was dealing with. So the way I want to see it, and this is not, I'm not approving of adultery in any marriage. I would not commit it. Till I die, I don't support it. But it is said that she needed a child desperately. And I'm quoting somebody called Rex Ann 2NY. He says that, so Martha is gone. She needed a child desperately. She met a fetish pastor who performed some rituals on her. Got heavily pregnant. Last ritual exposes them. She committed suicide along with the baby. So the devil, its mission accomplished. And so I would not support adultery, but I would say that based on her emotional state, and who better to know how badly she wanted the child than the husband who found them. So, and I don't want to believe, because I want to just see the good in this, that the husband posted that video. Yes, he might have shared the video, but anybody else could have posted the video, and that does not justify Tiwa Savage saying that who have not committed it before should that on a shamelessness. But I'm just saying that, you know, he knew, or he should know better if it's a good marriage, how badly the weight of childlessness and all of that, and women seeking solution everywhere, anywhere, with this problem that society pushes them. You constantly see your neighbors, your best friends child, they'll tell you, you remember that your friend you grew up together, our child is now in secondary school. You're asking God. You know, it's not an easy thing to wait.
Nima, but shouldn't she have taken permission from her husband for this kind of solution? No, you're looking for, now. You're looking for the fruit of the womb.
We know the proper things to do.
Okay.
I'm saying people do the unimaginable to solve these problems. We were on this show, we took a story in the paper where one woman dressed like as if she was lost, slept over in somebody's house, and pop with the new baby to go and do naming in her house. The Summit Society's demand. She was, I was saying, call her crazy, call her anything, but don't call her a thief. Because, you know, except she was selling the baby. She was throwing a naming ceremony when she was arrested with that baby she had taken.
Stolen.
So,
let's take a short break. When we come back, we ask the question, how far can women go? Yeah, so when we come back now, I'm starting with you. We'll ask the question, how far are we allowed to go in looking for the fruit of the womb? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the pregnant woman who committed suicide after she was found cheating on her husband with a pastor. And you can join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. And Nima started this
It looks like the way
conversation.
you even introduced it, the story has changed because the video is looking like she was cheating and she might not be cheating.
No, you know there are several truths.
Let's
One
establish
situation.
something.
Now, where is yourself?
Exactly. So we are seeing from different angles.
Yes.
We have
Yeah.
handled
Two
the
stories.
What
cheating
the world
part.
saw was that her husband caught her fornicating.
Yes.
But what the world might not never see is that maybe she had a problem, pastor
And
was
she was
praying,
looking for
pastor,
that
or
problem.
pastor was even cajoling her or anything at all. We didn't see that.
So now the question
Because the
is,
focus
how
on her.
far do we go as women? We're still coming back to all the
Yeah,
other
before
issues
we
surrounding the
reach there.
cheating. How far do we go
As well.
as women when we are looking for the fruit of the womb?
So before we get there, I wanted to complete my first point that somebody posted the video. Regulating social media is extremely important
we agree.
so that we find an indirect way of planting a
Executing.
manslaughter on the person who provoked
Originated.
this mental state of her considering suicide an option.
Thank you.
We cannot just push people, throw people to the point where they run mad, commit suicide, kill themselves, kill somebody,
And they will walk away
we'll
free.
they will now hide from social media, change name and come back. You must have regulation. This thing is tough. Someone gave the example of Chingel. Chingel is a beautiful actress, stage actress,
Intelligent
actress, intelligent woman. But if they started with Ketenshaw at one time calling her old. And you know, these things, if you don't have brick wall mindsets of your walls around
many
you,
people have
something go here, you go hear something.
You go hit you.
And so, when we move from that part, I hope that, you know, the country happened, I think it's an Eastern African story. I hope they have one. Now, on the issue of how far we go, it is only when we are sane we can advise. If you are going through and you don't have a support system of strong advisors who make it seem okay, all right, around you, every concerned person is provocative. It takes a mind, it takes strength to understand when somebody is even saying how far you did when you're waiting.
Yeah, let's take this call. Ade from London. Good morning, Ade.
Yeah, good morning, lady. I think we are in a perilous time now. Because I'm wondering, all the cheating are women. Why are women cheating these days?
With men.
You should talk to them. You have women, talk to your colleagues outside here that they should stop cheating. When men go to work hard, and they come back and see women cheating. Please advise them.
Okay.
I think it's the end time.
Wow, Mr. Ade, interesting. I was going to talk about I wanted to talk about the pastor. You know, when the story in the Bible showed that when Jesus confronted the woman that was caught cheating, that was about to be stoned to death, he asked if anybody hasn't had sin, but there was the other partner was never there. So it's always historically been the case where if and when situations like cheating happens, the woman gets picked on and the man is never, his face barely shows. We saw his picture, but everybody knew who the woman that was pregnant and caught cheating was, but we did not mention this is the pastor, this is his church, this is what he's doing, what are his own consequences. So we didn't shame him enough for him to commit suicide, but they trust the woman enough for the woman to commit suicide. It's terribly unfair. But back to the story, how far are people willing to go? I have a very, very personal relationship with waiting, because I'm an only child and I saw my mom go through waiting and pray on mountains, to the beach. She fasted, sowed seed. She wanted to have more children. So unless you are in that space with the society, the way the society wires having children as the pinnacle of being a human, a woman. Yeah. You are not a woman if you're not married and you have children. If you get married, you have not even finished. You must have a child. There's someone how put it. You must have a boy. You know, all of this layering of expectation puts a lot of strain on the emotional well-being of people, and they do all sorts of things. Yeah. And so we need to start digging deep before asking a question of how is too far. It's not too far. It is when you are facing that problem
that you know. I agree with you. Let's take this call. Amina from Kaduna. Good morning, Amina.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, we can hear you. You're live.
Okay. For the first time, I'm happy getting you.
Oh,
nice. All along I've been trying, I've never been able to get through.
I'm happy to see you. Welcome to the show.
You are doing a very wonderful job. I say congratulations and thank you very much. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. The issue you are discussing is a very unfortunate situation. Like one of you rightly said, the women are always at the receiving end. And unfortunately, we women, don't always learn. There's every possibility that this woman must have been hypnotized into doing it. That is led to the pastor or the so-called pastor or whoever is in the situation. Nobody knows. But the truth now is that she gave in to it, and there's nothing anybody can do. If there's anybody that is behind her death, I won't blame the husband as such. There's this feeling of disappointment, and you will feel there's every possibility too that he must have been following this lady up with this pastor. It's not something that is being done for the first time. And now that he caught them red-handed, he felt okay, the only way he can get over it is to post this thing out and maybe get a relief, which is not the best. But I think the pastor is the one that has caused this woman's death. And unfortunately, this pastor, like one of you rightly said, nobody knows who is the pastor, from which church, and how he got to that house. The woman is the one at the center of the whole affair. I think my advice for women is when you are in a marriage or in a relationship that you think you are not getting what you want, just quietly find your way out. If you're...
Thank you, Amina. Thank you. Miriam, let me come to you.
Yes, so, you know, we had the previous caller before, Amina was saying that we should talk to women is their fault. And he would say that because the person holding the camera is the husband of the wife that was committing adultery. If it was turned around and it was the wife of the pastor catching, would we still say it's women that are cheating, or we would still say women are cheating. Do you understand?
Because
so
you say women cause that cheating.
Yes, women cause
you are not
cheating.
a good wife. You are not
so when it comes to adultery and things like that and cheating, we tend to see it with like 2D camera. We don't look at the whole picture. There's a man and a woman involved. That man is somebody's husband. Is somebody's father and brother. He too is very much a part of this and is very much to blame for what has happened. There's also the part of where we have spiritualized a lot of things to the point where people feel that and thereby creating an industry for fake spiritualists to take a hold of us. So a woman has a man and a woman, they have issues with having children. Thank God for science. We know we go to the hospitals, the IVF, there's adoption, there's surrogacy, but we have made it a spiritual problem that there's a person that is eating your destiny. There's someone that is pounding your image in a pot. There's someone that has held you in your mirror. And for those spiritual things, it's the spiritualist himself that can tell you what to do to get out of that spiritual bondage. It's not like the hospital where you see a doctor and he tells you what to do. You do tests. They give you medicine, you go home, you are doing this openly with your family members and your loved ones being involved. Spiritualists will tell you, keep your mouth shut. They don't even tell the man that you're supposed to be doing it for his happiness. So we have to be able to separate these religious, spiritual people from really the essence of God, which is really kindness and goodness, and He just wants the best for us. Anyone that wants to do things that will end up destroying your family cannot be from God.
Yeah, let me take this call. Omoshalewa from Magodo, and then we dig deep into this point you've raised. Good morning, Omoshalewa. Oh, sorry, we lost the caller. So, I saw a related, quickly, Nima, I saw a related information where a woman was saying that, please, you people cannot separate her with her pastor. I'm paraphrasing now, that she's been in that situation looking for the fruit of the womb till she visited the pastor, and then they did the first one, and she went back, she gave birth, she has gone back again and for the second one, and now she's happily married with 2 children, and she's okay. So all these pastors know what they are doing. And I feel very terrible because I know that a lot of women are in this particular position where they are relying so much on the pastors for all this spiritual baths, spiritual washing to be able to have or solve one problem or the other. How do we begin to deal with the gullibility of women when it comes to all these spiritual leaders? How do we begin to separate you going to church and understanding what the scripture says, or going to the mosque and understanding what your Quran is saying, than trusting, giving your whole life to somebody who will be directing you? Okay, I have to sleep with you 7 times a day for you to get this blessing. How do we begin to help women? A lot of women are in this. In fact, you needed to see the tweets or the messages under this woman's post. A lot of people were agreeing.
We're supporting.
They were supporting.
It's about, because
deep.
We no longer ask, how did you get there? Just get there. We don't ask, how did you make money? Just make money. How did you have the child? Just to bring the child home. Wow. So we're not concerned about the how. You can do anything. It's a case of the end justifies the means. And unless we take away all of that and begin to focus on values, what are the values? So in your goal towards having a child, you will kill somebody because you want to have a child. You want to make money, you will kill your wife or kill your child because you want to make money. And that all those means, like, I don't care anyhow I'm going to do it, kinshati logo, kinshati bimo, like anyhow, as long as I have money, as long as I have a child. That's fact that we don't question or put a system to checkmate the way we go about achieving our goals is what we need to revisit. Once we revisit it and start upholding people to better values, and
things might change.
Yeah. We might start seeing change.
All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll take more phone calls and messages. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be. Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Thanks for staying with us. So Nima was ready to give us some.
I wanted to talk about, as Miriam was talking about why women would do some of these things. We have some practices. They date way back. I don't know how exposed you are to some of these things, but I have seen growing up how we make it normal for a woman who, when a couple is going through some situation, the woman will be the one to drink the concoctions, to put them in a certain form and bring to her. They'll bring several bottles. When I was waiting, my mom would go to Alagbo, they would say, arrange them in different forms. It's supposed to help me to have child. And when it requires waiting or praying over, she has to go and seclude with a stranger. Yes, if I wasn't raised a Muslim, I would have considered it. No, you would have very relevant until today.
Yes,
women still do it to today. If I wasn't raised a Muslim to not mingle with somebody not within my marams, I would have considered it because I know some of my aunties who did that. I have one of my aunties, she's late, cousin, she's late now, may Allah forgive her. She did all sorts, and she didn't have a child till she died. In fact, when I heard she died this year, some months back, maybe like 2 months back, alone in my room, my kids had never seen me cry over the death of anyone like that. I locked up, I cried for her because she went through a lot. A whole lot, and the husband never understood what she had to sacrifice. So women were made to go into those kind of rooms. Before you go and come back, not only you know what in your eye see. We took a story on this table. We took a story on this table of a girl whose mother thought she had some issues. It was on our Punch, was it Punch? One of the papers, Human Interest Angle, and they took her to a prophet who was supposed to pray for her. As he was using anointing oil, he was raping the poor girl.
Yes.
And she could not cry.
Yes.
Women have been made to go through the things that I have seen. Mouth cannot talk that kind of situation
quickly.
on the way to these solutions.
Hassan, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
So, please, let us have a special prayer for ourselves, both Muslims and Christians. May we not face the trials of life.
Amen.
That's the most important thing. Your faith can be put to test when you have serious problems. Forget being a Muslim or a Christian. Anything can happen. Secondly, please, about Tope Abeg, when did you become the spokesperson for Ipman and Dapman? Because, let me tell you, I wear the shoes. I bought fuel at 200 naira in World Oil Company in Ikate, in Lagos. And it's because of this kind of justification that those people are working on. They are making money. Major marketers are still selling at 169, 170.
They don't have.
Why should somebody be subjecting us to hardship by collecting 200 naira from us for 1 liter? And let me tell you the adverse effect of it. It will reflect all over the aspect of our lives. Everything will go. I see no reason why petroleum marketers will be subjected.
Thank you, Hassan. So he
Please,
went back to the hot
when
topic.
we take the newspaper review, we read what the paper says. It's not about what I am saying, because I mentioned I bought for 210, but I read what the paper says. He said, I'm not a spokesperson for Ipman or Dapman. I simply just said the story that was in the paper.
Yeah.
Women go through these grievous things, and they come culturally. The seclusions, the rituals, some they don't say. Don't share with anybody. So you're being abused. It's been justified to be your only means to getting what you need, but you are not supposed to share. It's in our African cultures. It's in our religious practices that have been inculcated and mixed up. And if you don't have somebody that can clearly open your eyes to these things, you will do mistakes. You will do some things that you will regret in your life. You need someone who can stable things for you. I remember when I was waiting and I would talk to my father and he'd be like, I went for scan before I ever got pregnant. In First Act, that place, I know your name, but I will not mention because I've said they needed a suit. It was my first scan and they went in, into my pelvics and everything. I come back, madam, you have blocked tubes. I was alone. I didn't have my husband. I did not, in my imaginations, with the kind of life I lived, that I would have such a result. Did you have an abortion before?
Jesus.
Have you had child before? Did you know that? Till I don't know how I made it home. I don't know how.
And I remember people are not strong enough would have died.
Sharing the result with my husband and my father, and both of them laughing that it can't be you now. Look at this result. And I was like, village people, they get me. I told you we were not wedding. There is that wedding day. Maybe they spray me money. I thought of all sorts of impossible. Me that I'm always strong-minded and I was broken.
Let's take this call from Pastor Adeyemi from Lekki. Good morning, Pastor Adeyemi.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're live.
Okay, good morning. My name is Pastor Adeyemi from Lekki. I like what two ladies are doing, but the Lord bless you in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Sister busy. May God Almighty continue to strengthen you. Sister Adeyemi, God bless you.
Amen.
Quickly, it will be very hard for pastors of this day not to deceive women. Ask me why. Churches that are preaching true word of God, these women will not go there. They prefer to go to places where they will be deceived. It's not only happening to women, it's also happening to men. So until people begin to stick to scriptures, that's why they will be free from all these deceit. So that's my contribution this morning. People should stop looking for a fast way, to pay. Let us stick to the word of God. Concerning that situation you are going through, what is the word of God saying concerning it, not what the pastor is saying. The moment you discover the word of God, then the solution will come to your problem, not what the pastor told you or what anybody tells you. May God help us in Jesus' name. That's my contribution.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Adeyemi. In addition to that, quickly, even the scripture says, test the spirits, test all spirits. And I used to feel very bad when I see people who just rush to a particular place and everything, you just hear, my pastor said, my this one said, my that one said. Which one have you heard yourself, for your situation? I used to feel bad, and then they were like, you are a rebel. Are you saying we should not believe our? And they just, in fact, in my home, it started in my house, where they tagged me a rebel. Just, this pastor said, leave BC out of it, she will insult you people. Because I just had to question, there were some things I heard that, it didn't make sense, it didn't make logical sense, it didn't even make spiritual sense with the little spiritual knowledge that I had. I felt like, this is, can I hear, can I have that connect and hear yourself directly? And also we need to notice that not everybody who says they are pastors are actually pastors. Because this man in question now, we have not seen his church, we have not seen his congregation, so let's not be in a hurry to just give people titles and just brand them certain things. Exactly.
I actually wanted to go there about when Nima was taking us back, and I guess it's not really back because people are still doing it, about culture and how we really handle things like this. So it's not something that we learned from somewhere. We have incorporated what we've done culturally and traditionally into our religion. But then that's where the state comes in to protect its citizens. And so we have heard where the state had insisted at one point that anyone that calls himself a pastor, you have to have gone through a pastoral school. You should be licensed. So that when you even do something wrong, we know where to go and meet you. All this I was called is not, it's not enough. And so when we even want to tell the story of the person, if the person has done bad, we cannot even call that person a pastor. Yes. We can say maybe self-acclaimed. But to even, I feel that we take away from those who are doing the work of God. So somebody who called himself or whatever says, oh, I'm a lawyer. Do you understand? But when they are really going to investigate that situation,
he was not even called to
they will say he was not never called to bar, never went to law school, blah blah blah, and then not a lawyer. But with pastors or with imams, is anybody is called and you go forward, and then when you are called, nobody can separate you. How do we separate them from the real one? So it's important that the state steps in many ways to protect us, and in the ways.
They killed him.
And when the state steps into, we know Nigerians how it always backfires. We always, because we don't trust government, we think, oh, they're here to gag us, they're here to, but there has to be a point where the state can step in to protect us. Yeah. Because you cannot have, it does not even make sense to send your underage child to go and stay with a male spiritualist for days. And then what do you expect? The state should be able to step in and punish that person and punish the family that neglected to protect a child.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll try to find solutions to these things. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insight.
Thanks for staying with us. As we try to wrap up this conversation, I would like us to think of some solutions that we can prefer to people who are in this sort of situation. If you're waiting, you are waiting for anything, whether it's a job, is a career, is a relationship, is a child. How best do you think you can wait? That's on one hand. Secondly, what is the society's role in, sort of showing compassion to people who are in this situation? Because I know that sometimes it's because everybody will be talking. You have not had a child, you have been married 7 years, 8 years. There's a lot of frustration coming from different angles, family, friends, society. What do you think we can begin to do as a people to sort of support and show compassion to people who are going through these different phases in their lives? Do you think if we do something, we may be able to sort of support them so that they don't go to the extreme because they have to show up and show out? Okay, I'm married, I've been blessed with children, anyhow I get the child, wouldn't matter. What do you think we can begin to do? Who's ready to go?
Solutions. Okay. When we want to talk about solutions, there is no blanket solution for these issues because everybody, we're all a reflection of our background, the way we were raised, the society that brought us up, how nurtured we were, the level of resilience we had coming in, and the level of support we have on that journey. So what's the nasty behavior of the person that scanned Nima when she was going through her own could have pushed somebody else into walking into the street and getting hit by a car. Just because the person is just lost. Like, how can this happen to me? And he just walks straight into a car and the person dies. That has happened. And somebody else is able to hold it. She struggled to get home. And thankfully, she now had support at home. So it is not, girl, get yourself together. You're not the only one waiting to have a child. You're not the only one waiting for something. That's not the solution. That can work for some people. But other is like, let us begin to truly be kind to one another. Let us truly support one another. Let us not, don't assume you know what somebody is going through and say you know how to do it better. If you see someone that is obese, you don't know what the person is going through. So don't just say, wait till you look where he fat like this, just fat anyhow. Compassion, kindness. Let us lead with kindness, because at the end of the day, all of us will go through different things at different times of our lives. But if we have someone kindly supporting us on that journey, we will survive.
Let's take this call. Gabriel from Ikotu. Good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the good work. Thank you for this topic. I can now say that you are talking of a solution. I think the best of the solution is the man himself. The man needs to support the wife. He needs to protect the woman from his relation, from even her relation. You understand? Because I was there, and I know what it takes. In fact, it was so bad that I don't even associate with my town people. Wow. I don't go to town meeting. I don't go to even to the village. It was as bad. But I supported my wife. I was behind her. I protected her from everybody. Whether my mother, whether my brother, whether my sister. It's my responsibility. After all, she's the singer to that family. It was me that brought her to the family. They don't know her from others.
Wow.
So I protected her. I secured her. Until God was, eventually answered us. So it is
That's amazing,
important for the man. It is important for the man to stand by the wife, because he said it for better for worse. So when it is now trouble, why must you abandon the woman to the situation? And that is
Thank you so much, Gabriel.
Then secondly, you were talking about IVF. The cost of IVF is too high. I think that is where government should come in to subsidize the cost of IVF. Not everybody can afford it. Especially when you are talking of average family, they cannot afford it. So if the government can subsidize it, probably it will assist,
Thank you so much, Gabriel.
So Gabriel actually took it out of my mouth. I was going to say the first solution is that the man has to understand that they're in this together. you have to, and I like the words he used, and I guess he used these words because he's been through them himself. He said, protect her. And that's the truth. You have to be there to protect her. You have to be there to preserve her and preserve her sanity. You need to be her safe haven. When she even goes out, because whether she likes it or not, this is the world that she lives in. She will go out, but she will know that she has someone at home that is holding her down, you know. And if that is missing, if the man is also a source of pressure for her, she will now be so desperate, she will think she has to do this alone. And she would use any means necessary because she has now realized that the partner at home just wants, I don't care. Because the partner is saying, I really don't care, just get me a child. We have even people that are educated and exposed and have heard about these stories of infertility and how it can be both partners. We have today people who say they are married to men who say they will not follow you to the hospital. Go ahead, go and sort yourself out.
They may because they believe,
exactly, they believe strongly that it's not them. So for me, if you have to understand that you have to work together. Yes, you're not the one carrying the womb, but you know, every other part of it, you must do that together. Then talking to the society, to people around you, we can really talk to them, but we cannot sort of, you know, because they don't really matter in the scheme of things. They are not your core support group. People will talk what they want to talk, but you also need, that's where you have to build yourself. That's where you have to be strong. If you have a good support system at home, they'll help you. But if you don't, you know, learn to believe in yourself. Hang out with people that bring out only the positives about you. Hang out with people that constantly encourage you. Close your eyes and your ears to the naysayers and concentrate on what's important to you. And then if the house is toxic, then you make a decision. You have to make that decision for yourself.
Let's wrap up.
Okay, my mind don't travel.
Bring them back.
So it's important that, you know, people in the house around you are a good support system. But it's also very important that you beef yourself up because you will see plenty. Once this journey starts and the doctors are saying you have PCOS, you have a fibroid, it's inside the uterus, it's outside, they're explaining the basics. Start to read and help yourself. So that anything you start, I used to do something to Dr. Ewe those days. If you say something, I'll go on Google. Like, when you're done reading, can you listen? So I would explain. Then when they changed him, I met one doctor, Dr. Abdul Salam. I think he was visiting from South Africa, one of the fertility doctors. He was the best doctor I had seen, and I saw him for a short period, just 2 weeks, I think. And he would explain that, you know, your uterus is very small. You've never had a child, so this is going to be a bit. And then when the child comes, you have cramps. Truly, when I got pregnant, I had cramps as if I wanted to die. It was implantation cramps.
Wow.
So people who will talk. So you yourself, you need to educate yourself. It comes with it. You need to inform yourself enough because they will bring water. One Alpha will tell you, I entered prayer room because of you. Drink sober water. Come and see me privately. All of those nonsense. Someone used to send me a message. You say, Nima, I don't know why are you sure you want child? You are not even doing anything about it. I was reading. And anything that did not look like what I was reading did not seem like a solution. Simple. I will move on. And if you are an Alpha, you say, I want to pray, me, self, Afaris. I will start to pray my prayer. Tell me the prayers you want me to do. I will do it because I believe that I'm talking to God directly. I don't need an intermediary, and that is the faith.
Exactly.
That's for the faith that I practice. So you need to beef yourself. You need to prepare yourself. It's a tough journey.
Ladies. I would also like to add that as we go ahead with our religious lives, it's good that you know your God for yourself. Know your personal God for yourself. Have a relationship with your God so that you're not easily swayed. We have seen people who will drink kerosene, who will be beaten, who will be stepped on, who will be set on fire just because their leader, their spiritual head said they should do this, and then they follow hook, line, and sinker without asking questions. That's one. Secondly, you can't really predict how the outside world will react to your situation. So it's important that you focus on what you can control. And that is helping to shore up your emotions, like most of you have said here, helping to prepare yourself and believe in who you are, trusting God you have, that it will happen in its due time. And let's also try to be patient. Yeah, let's try to be patient. That's all we can take on this segment. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we move on to another topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. we will provide you with the right insights.
Thanks for staying with us. So the education minister in Ghana has stated that children have been tamed, saying that teachers just want them to write down what they have told them on the day of the exam. He went further to state that such system will not provide critical thinking students, neither will it transform the nation, especially in this 21st century. Also stating that we cannot memorize our way out of poverty and that African schools should begin to look into an assertive curriculum that empowers the African child to be able to ask questions and challenge the status quo. What are your thoughts on this? When I saw the video, I laughed.
It's totally you.
Because it's something I have been saying over and over and over. And the catchphrase for me for the rest of the year is, you cannot memorize your way out of poverty. I've seen different systems of education. I used one particular style of education. I schooled under one. I taught in a different one. And I saw the difference in output. I saw the difference in result. I saw the difference in learning outcomes. I was able to understand that when you load children so much and you expect them to give you back everything you have loaded, you are not raising total children. You are just raising robots who will just finish the work, manage to find maybe a bow tie or a 5 and 6 job, and then that is all about their lives. You are not raising individuals who would challenge the status quo, who will ask questions, who will innovate. And I saw the other style that seemed like you're allowing these children too much questions and too much thinking. Raise more children who are able to create something because they notice a problem and they can think on their feet on that solution. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, the man is saying what we have been saying since. Now, I don't know the sort of schools that some of our children have attended. What can you compare some styles of education, and what do you think we can begin to do as Africans so that we raise people who are able to innovate and probably change and take us out of this quagmire?
I think first of all say that when I watched this video, I saw an African leader usually saying the right things but doing nothing about it. So the Minister for Education in Ghana made this very laudable sentence, but curriculum never still change for Ghana.
They talk now.
As long as we are still writing WAEC, WASC, GCE, we are still cramming to pass. We are still taking what they gave us, the curriculum Oyibo tell us. That's why our economic policies cannot change Africa. It will be, the AU is being built by Chinese now. Sadly, so it has to come from outside for it to be the standard that we judge our situation with. So only God Almighty will help us, like Yakub used to say. But the reality is that he's not wrong. It's very correct, and all of us agree. I'm just hoping that these things will change. So are we doing it already within our houses? My son, for instance, if you teach him something, you have to practicalize it. And if you don't practicalize it, maybe he sees the situation, he will tell you, okay, that's what you were trying to say, because that's the way he learns. I had something like that where I have to peg every learning thing with a circumstance. So trust me, I will remember events, time, place, because that's the way I learn. And the teachers will be like, I don't know why he's not interested in class, because when you're teaching, I just say, boy has gone. He don't drive off with his imagination.
Even I won't get it.
So we had online classes where it was made to add 2 plus 3, and he said, I don't know. I was like, okay, when I born. So I went to his cars, lost cars, and I gave him 2 cars and 1 car. Oh man, how many cars would you have if you put? That's 3 cars, 2 cars, and you put cars to it
immediately.
But the teacher in school just writing numbers for him. Abstract. They're wasting his time. So we're helping them.
This casting reminds me of when my son was in nursery school and they said, draw a picture of your family. And everybody would draw the stick hand of father, mother. My son drew dinosaurs. Daddy dinosaur, mommy dinosaur, him. I was creative. I just remember thinking, I hope this boy is all right. You think we look like dinosaurs to you? In your mind, when you see us, you see dinosaurs. In fact, I said and he laughed. But the thing is, whether we like it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, Oyinbo people, I think they sort of have figured out this teaching, whatever. Because what I've found Nigerian schools do, especially my children's school, my daughter's school, they send them off with videos. Oyinbo made the video of like a subject that they are taking in school that Oyinbo has turned into a song, and they are singing and the children are dancing and they are learning the lyrics, but it is actually formulas and principles of the particular subject. And I was thinking in my mind like, hey, why, imagine, so there's a gap here where it has to be filled with Nigerian way of, teaching things. Our own story, I remember the story of the tortoise and the hare, and we just knew that you should not eat more than what you are meant to eat or else you fall and break your shells, but we haven't built from that. We need to build from that our storytelling way to encourage our children to understand the things that are happening with them. When you sit our children down, they will discuss everything that has to do with America and beauty. They know, they know their kind of money, how much, and because those people are using different methods to teach our children. Our children understand them far easier than they understand our method. I've seen some of our children, especially those who go to, and this is not to rubbish our public schools, but the system used to be, I don't know if it's changed now, but it used to be much stricter. They would cram, they would not express themselves as much, and I saw that it had to do with like the system of teaching, where you would sit down and there was a lot of flogging and a lot of screaming, and you had to give down exactly what you have been taught. Meanwhile, private schools, I think because they are more exposed to other ways, we're encouraging children to express themselves. Creative thinking, creative writing, creative this. So it's important that we start to look at things differently when we're teaching our children. It would show eventually in the way, the sort of leaders that we have eventually, the way our economy is run, but let's not forget our own traditional ways. Let's just build on it. What we have to help, to help our children.
Toby?
So, for me, Africa's problems would only be solved by Africans who think the way we were meant to think. So, every area in the Western worlds have snow, and they created solutions that would solve their problems. They created induction, they made sure there were heaters, they created unique clothing, because before it was really bulky, and so they found a way that, okay, there's some fabrics that would not be so bulky but would still insulate us from the cold, and they kept refining and refining solutions for their problem. We cannot abdicate the responsibility of thinking to a different set of people and simply borrow their system, so take your call.
Yeah, okay, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century, speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, And last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be. Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas.
Thanks for staying with us. So let me allow Tokwe wrap up because we don't have time.
So quickly saying that our challenges in our educational sector cuts across Ghana and Nigeria, but I'd like to speak to my own people in Nigeria. We have unique problems we're facing as a country, and our curriculum right now isn't solving that problem for us because we've been an independent country for 62 years, and we're still facing the same problem: power, bad roads. We need to start thinking differently. The cramming and passing is not working for us. So let us get more practical. Let us get more. Let's get more hands-on on whatever we're doing. Let's start challenging our school, not just to pass an engineer because the engineer can tell you how the car can draw a car and label what is on the car. Let's stop passing people because they can label a hat but cannot create a mechanical hat that they can put inside that would make. Innovation must be encouraged from the school. You must start awarding innovation, not just recollection of you. I don't pass because I recollected. I pass because I innovated. And it's at that point that we can start solving our problems locally.
So I think our major problem is practice. So Mariah has said it here when she started working with the Ministry of Education. She realized that most of these skills are already in the curriculum, but it's just the implementation. So it's there, but you're not implementing. You're not helping people to understand. That's one. Secondly, we're not paying attention to, in designing your curriculum, to take cognizance of all the learning styles in teaching your, like the example you gave with your son now, he's a kinesthetic learner from what you have just explained. So he needs to be in the process. He needs to move the cards together. He needs to touch it and feel it to learn. So when I did my teaching practice and I taught for 5 years using the Montessori method of teaching, I realized that in one lesson plan, I would have taken cognizance of all the learners in my class, all the different learners. The visual will have their visual, the auditory will have their auditory, the kinesthetic will have. In one lesson, it was a lot of work. We're closing school 6 p.m., 7 p.m. as classroom teachers, preparing for the next day's lesson. Are we willing to do that sacrifice? That's one thing. We have it according to Mariah. I'm not saying their curriculum. Are we willing to do that? Are we willing to allow our children ask questions? Do we shut them down?
It's because we just started by Nigeria.
Hold on. It's because we just started this topic now. We can even link in religion and how we are able to. You are not allowed to express.
The question is, even at university level, do we trust a final year project, an invention of a Nigerian? Did you know that the pounding yam we are buying from India and Chinese was designed by a student in Uniben as his final year project? Imagine. They didn't patent it here. Nobody bought it here. God bless him. He crossed border mistakenly. Just a sample that the countries that we are going there to buy from now are using.
Yes, because we're the ones that eat pounded yam. How many people
now we were hearing that they were made about.
They've taken it now.
Yes, in Nigeria invented it.
Our bitter leaf now that we used to cook soup, do not have a bitter leaf peel. And we buy it expensive. And we need to wake up. But that's all we can take on this topic. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your contributions.
Who are you calling gentlemen?
All of us here, ladies and gentlemen, please.
This
conversation.
Advise your colleagues.
We'll continue the conversation tomorrow. Have a lovely day.
I'm a lady. I'm not a gentleman.
Bye-bye now.